Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for joining our session, Ikeke Daniel. And I'll be handling the session with Julia. Okay, she is also a delegate from 2020 IPTC that was held in KSA. Okay, so we will be starting right away and just go with us through the slides. Myself and Julia will be handling the slides after each other. So kindly stay with us. Just as a way of introduction, please, as you come in, do well to mute your audio to help us reduce the noise, okay? Thank you very much. Okay. So we'll be giving you tips, just like we said, tips on successful application, more like a general overview of the IPTC Education Week, step-by-step process, okay, and how to successfully apply for the IPTC Education Week. Now, in the course of this session, we'll be talking about IPTC. What's IPTC about? The IPTC Education Week, application eligibility. We'll spend much of the time discussing the application form, and then I will be sharing some personal tips with you. Okay, so IPTC, basically this is the International Petroleum Technology Conference. Okay, that's it's the meaning of the abbreviation. It was founded in 2005, and it is multidisciplinary, as you would know. So it covers so many persons from different fields. Okay, we have geologists, petrophysicists, electrical, mechanical engineers who are part of the petroleum industry. So the IPTC is a conference that offers new technologies that share and disseminate ideas on new technologies and resources to these persons that form the bulk of the petroleum industry. It is sponsored by 4 different organizations: the Society of Petroleum Engineers, that's the SPE, the Society of Exploration Geophysicists, that's the SEG, the European Association of Geoscientists and Engineers, EAGE, and the American Association of Petroleum Geologists. Okay, moving forward. So, what's the mission statement? Why did these 4 organizations come together to organize the IPTC? What's the need for having a conference such as this? Now, the mission statement of IPTC is to promote, aid, and encourage technology dissemination and collaboration amongst the different disciplines that make up the petroleum industry. So as different technologies come up every day, as we have new technologies come up every day, we see that it becomes necessary and paramount that these technologies are shared, the resources are shared amongst the different disciplines that make up the industry. Now, we'll not be dwelling much on IPTC itself because the essence of this session is to discuss the IPTC Education Week application. So if you need more information, kindly visit the link you are seeing on your screen, iptcnet.org. You get all the information you need about IPTC. So who attends IPTC? Now we see that I added this slide so that you could, see, get motivated, sort of, because this should also gear you to being very meticulous about your applications. Because if you know who is going to attend, you know how best to plan. So IPTC, just like we've said, is a multidisciplinary event, and so we see executive management from IOCs and NOCs and service companies. IOCs are the international oil companies, NOCs, national oil companies, and also service companies, geoscience and reservoir discipline experts, drilling and completion discipline experts, project facilities and construction experts. We have scientists, technologists, and researchers, contract procurement heads, HSE professionals, field development, production experts, HR, training, industry officials, military personnel, and academia. Now you see that you have this large opportunity to meeting any of these persons. Now imagine you're a student and you decide to major in reservoir, okay? You hope to work as a reservoir engineer. You have the opportunity of meeting reservoir engineers, lead reservoir engineers, and also reservoir engineers from different companies, both IOCs and NOCs. And this would go a long way to help you in your career. So you're a student who hopes to, you are looking forward to maybe continuing a research after your undergraduate studies, you hope to continue your research in maybe a school like Texas A&M. You could meet people who work as lecturers, as professors in the Texas A&M University, and then I tell you the truth, it would be a great add to you. I myself, I know I met so many professors in the course of my stay in KSA. I met so many professors who, most of them were into my line of research, okay, and we shared ideas, we shared thoughts, and then the others, I got to know what they were really into, what they were doing, and the roles they played in the different fields where they were. Beyond the academy, I also met people who were experts in their field, reservoir engineers, drilling and completion engineers, and the rest. And all these opportunities are at your fingertips if only you are very meticulous in your application and get selected. Now, IPTC, we've had 12 editions of IPTC being held. It has not been held consecutively because of the nature of some of the, I think some periods have not been very favorable. But then we've had 12 different sessions or editions previously, and the last one was last year in Saudi Arabia. So it has been held in Qatar, UAE, Malaysia, Thailand, China, okay, and then Saudi Arabia. It was held for the first time in Saudi Arabia last year, and it will be held for the third time in Malaysia by next year. Okay, so what's the IPTC Education Week? It is part of the educational activities, okay? So the IPTC Education Week is part of the educational activities that's being held as part of the programs for the conference. So the IPTC educational activities include the Emerging Leaders Workshop. It includes the Emerging Leaders Workshop. It includes the Education Day, the Teachers Day, and the Education Week. Now, if you look at this, most of the other educational activities, they just span for a day. Just the Education Week spans for 5 days, and you see the myriad of opportunities you have. Okay, getting to spend 5 days to network with students, with professionals. Okay, so you have 5 days to maximize your stay, 5 days to develop yourself. It's a long time, I must say. It's a long time, and then the Education Week, it's really what is of essence to us. And just like I said, it's up to you to get selected. Okay. Now, it is organized for the best up to 100 students. Okay, best fourth and third year undergraduate students who are studying any course and are members of the organizations I listed before, the AAPG, EAGE, SEG, or the SPE. Now, if your school offers a 5-year course, the program would be for the 4th year and the 5th year students. So it's basically for the penultimate and final year students. So since most schools run a 4-year course, that's why it's put in on the website 3rd and 4th year students. So it's basically for penultimate and final year students. And then it's for the best. Okay, they hope to select the best. Julia will be talking on the eligibility. Okay, so it's you have to be part of, you have to be top, at least in the top 20%. So you find out that they want the best, and they want students who major in science, geoscience, and engineering. It cuts across international institutions. So wherever you are around the world, you have a chance to attend the IPTC. And your travel and accommodation are fully funded by the IPTC. So imagine going for a fully funded trip, okay, to Malaysia. That would be wonderful. So why is the program designed? It is designed to provide a clear insight. Now, remember, our students, we tend to not really gain access to what's really happening in the industry, except we research on our own. That's the truth. And so IPTC hopes to give students a clear insight of the industry, what the industry looks forward to, what the industry hopes that students should know before coming in. And then it gives this opportunity to work on joint projects with other students. Now, you get to meet so many students from different parts of the world. I remember at a point we were so much filled with this joy of meeting people from different parts of the world that it's so much look at as though we're in the UN, okay, where we had different countries, people from China, Venezuela, people from Romania, people from Saudi Arabia, different countries, and we came together to work on a joint project. Okay, now imagine that network. Imagine the network we must have built. Okay, we still keep in touch. We still help each other out with materials, with resourceful guides and tips, and also opportunities. We still do that even currently. And then you get to meet with major industry players. So you get this opportunity to meet with people who can transform your life in the industry. Okay, just before Julia would proceed, um, to be eligible, you must be enrolled in full-time undergraduate education. So you just have to be undergraduate, and you have an excellent level of written and spoken English. Your application would be reviewed in English, so it is wise that you have an excellent level of written and spoken English. And also, you'll be communicating with people from different parts of the world, so you need to have a good level of English too. And you have to be in the top 20% of your class. Now, I'll define the top 20%. So if you are using the 4-point scale, the top 20%, I believe, okay, should be from at least a 3.5. Okay, from a 3.5, you should, or most likely, except your class is very competitive, you should be in the top 20% of your class. And if you're using the 5-point scale, that's the CGPA scale, a 4.0, a 4.0 should do, okay, or to make it much better, a 4.5. So another important eligibility criteria is that you have not participated in a previous IPTC, AAPG, EAGE, SEG, or SPE education program. This is very important because if you have participated in any of such education program, now education program means a program that helps to educate you just as the IPTC would. And then you must be in your penultimate or final year. Okay, so Julia will be going through the application form. She'll be spending some time with you on the application form. She'll spend some time with you on the application form, and then you do well to go with her. So she would proceed.
So, okay. We're back. I can take this thing off as well. I'll take it back. So saying, different have different of get. So for most schools, you have some more from the indication they said if you're ultimate or your final, if you're running a 5-year course, running you're running a 5-year final year, you should be in your 500 level, and ultimate should be 400 level. The voice quality is very bad, so I advise everybody to keep it. If you're running a 4-year course, your final year should be 400 level, and your penultimate year should be 300 level. So whatever you're indicating, you should describe what year of undergraduate studies you're in. So your description should be clear, so they can understand what degree you're running and what level and what year of study you're in. So your technical discipline should be filled in. Like I said, it's not just for petroleum engineering students, so others can apply also. And if you click on others, I think something else would pop up for you to actually indicate the others that you actually you need to fill in graduation. Now your GPA, so you need to fill that in, and your total GPA must be in the same scale as your current GPA, because if different people have different skills they use, some use a 7-point skills, some use a 4-point skill, but I think most of us use a 5-point skill. So whatever it is, once you are writing your GPA, your total CGPA, which is the maximum GPA attainable, should be indicated in the same scale. So please, next slide, please.
Okay, so this is the next slide.
Okay, so you're being asked your bachelor degree course title. So most of us are running a major, but if you are running a minor, you can also include that too. So most of it just indicates the course you are currently studying. Then have you ever participated in a previous IPTC? Obviously the answer should be no, because if you're clicking yes, you're automatically disqualified because it's clearly indicated that you should not have attended any previous education week program. So next slide, please. So now, your departmental, so I'll clearly because the first is like the contact person in your department. So, question, you're going to be your vice chancellor or your dean, but I would not like you to impute the details of your vice chancellor or your dean. We all have departments, so depending on the department you're in, either you fill in the details of your head of department or your faculty advice. So can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can do it. It's breaking, but we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So you either fill in the details of your head of department or your faculty advisor, because you want to fill in a detail of someone who has a direct contact with your department. Most of you don't even know your vice chancellor, and you can't even have direct access to him. Now, this person's mail you must be filling, you must get access to him, you must get in contact with him, and get of your department's phone number, your department's email address, and your department's fax number. Because IPTC would eventually send a mail across to your department of which they would in contact with your department. And it's advisable to call the person ahead of time so the person can expect the mail. Thank you. Next slide, please. So your travel information, this is your international passport information. I understand that most people don't have an international passport, but it's something that you need to get. It's very important. So I don't know, this lockdown and everything, someone was complaining about not being able to access, but just go to your, just try and get it. It's very important. You need to fill in your passport number. Your passport number is like a 10-digit combination of a letter and some numbers. So you fill that in, date, Malaysia. So yes, city of departure. Now, peradventure, you are being selected to go for the IPTC program. You need to be leaving from somewhere. So where would you rather leave from? Your residential address or maybe your school address? Because I understand that most of us are students. So your school address or your residential address. So the choice is yours. Your city of departure and your country of departure. Nigeria, always. And some other people from okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Julia. So I think I'll taking the next few slides as we continue. So just as a way to keep check, we duly apologize for possibly the turnout of the video, but we promise you that the slides will be sent across. We will be sharing we'll be sharing the slide on a WhatsApp group chat. Now you can access that group chat by adding the digit 2, to the link used to join this Zoom meeting. I believe we can all hear me. So the Zoom link was bit.ly/IPTC 2021 guide. So to access the WhatsApp group chat, you just add 2 to the IPTC 2021 guide 2, and then you automatically join a group chat where this will be shared. Slide will be shared exactly 1 hour from the meeting. so that everybody can join the group chat if you are not there already. So I'll be speaking on additional information. Now, this is the key area where this is more like your selling point. Please. Okay, so I'm going to send the link to the chat here while we go. Please mute your audios. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll try to everybody, but meeting everybody would mean I'll also mute Julia, and people keep joining. That's the little challenge I have with meeting everyone. So help us mute your audios, please. Now, additional information. This is your selling point. This is the key area you'll be selected upon. It contains your affiliations to club and societies, your trainings, prizes and awards you've received, and your statement of intent or CV. Now, affiliation to clubs and societies, kindly note that this did not specify professional or non-professional associations or clubs. So clubs in your school, clubs, associations you belong to, like the Society of Engineers, which I'm a member, is supposed to go in here. The Yali Network, which I'm a member, is supposed to go in here. Please help us meet while I'll be doing that individually. Okay. So your affiliations would be all the clubs and societies you belong to. So kindly note that, and don't just give a list, okay? Don't just give a list. Remember that last year we were nominated just 4 students from most schools, and we had 420 plus applications. Now for this year, people are given the opportunity to apply. That means applications will be running into thousands. Now, how do you hope that the person reading your application would pause immediately he gets hold of your application, because your applications will be selected and given out to persons. Now, if your application does not have a reasonable, if it does not hold water, okay, then you will just lose the opportunity. So you have to tell your story correctly. You tell your story correctly. What groups do you belong to? How do you participate in that group? How do you participate in that group? Your trainings. What trainings have you taken part of? What trainings have you taken? Professional or non-professional? Kindly fill them there with explanations. Don't just write brief statements. We could help you preview this before you submit. So we'll be doing more of the mentoring on the group chat. Now the prizes and awards. Possibly you were valedictorian. You've been on the dean's list for a best academic performance for a couple of years. You've had a leadership experience, and you've been given an award for best leadership. Kindly fill them in here. Now, let me quickly point to this. IPTC focuses, last year I looked around and I noticed that IPTC focuses on 3 major areas. The first is academic excellence. The second is networking. The third, which is the last, is that's your leadership skills. So IPTC wants to invest in people that have leadership skills. So do you have leadership skills? If yes, then IPTC would be willing to help you. So fill in your leadership skills, especially if you received an award for your leadership skills. And you could also add this in your CV. It is very important. Academic excellence, networking skills, and leadership skills should show in your CV. Statement of intent. We're given 500 words. Tell your story correctly. Don't fabricate lies. Tell your story, be real. Because this is a selling point for you, and you just have to maximize that. Okay, so we'll move on from there. Okay, courtesy of Zoom, we've been given additional minutes for our meeting. So the 40 minutes limit has been removed, and we thank Zoom for that. Okay. So lastly, before I hand over to Julia to summarize her part of the slide, passport, student ID, transcript, your curriculum vitae, that is your CV, and certificates would need to be uploaded to the platform. You are best advised to upload it in a PDF file. Okay, upload as PDF, and ensure that these documents are clear and legible. Okay, and they are streamlined to the size. Okay, so you have maximum size of 3 MB for each of them. So try as much as you can to stick to that. Now, if you have a couple of certificates, maybe 4 or 5 certificates, kindly join them together. You could do that using Word. Okay, you could do that using Word application. Join them together, and then once you join them together, make it convert it into a PDF. So you snap them, paste them on Word, convert it to a PDF, and make sure it does not pass the 3 MB limit, and you upload so that anybody going through your work would see the list of certificates you have. The passport is very important, but just like Julia said, it is unfortunate that most of us cannot apply for a passport because of the COVID-19. Now, what I would advise you to do, because it is a compulsory upload, you must upload the front copy of your passport. Okay, so you must upload the front copy of your passport. What you can do to make it very efficient is for you to write a letter stating your constraints. So you can write a letter stating your constraints, why you cannot get a passport currently, and then you upload that letter. Okay, so you upload that letter in place of your passport. If you cannot get a passport, it will give you a more chance of gaining favor from whosoever. So your student ID card, you could snap, take a photo of the student ID. Okay, I'll you. Okay, thank you. So you take a photo of your student ID, and then you upload that. Your official transcript, please start writing to your schools. Okay, start writing to your schools for your transcript, as this is very important. And if you cannot get one, a letter with your CGPA, would do. So please kindly note that too. So kindly note that you can apply for. You can write a letter stating why your transcript is not available, and get it signed if possible. Maybe digital signature. You could send it to your faculty advisor, and they will append a digital signature to it, maybe possibly using a Gmail, and then you could then send that document instead. So I'll leave Julia to continue with the rest. We are seeing your questions, so we'll answer that shortly. So Julia, over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Daniel. So I'll just quickly conclude. So a very important aspect is that when you're filling out your application, most of us forget to save our drafts, and anything can happen. You can have like a minor network issue and everything you've done just clears off. So it's very advisable for you to save your drafts at every point in time. So once you fill out a section of your application, just save the draft. Once you fill out like your contact details, you save your draft, your university details, you save your draft. And also before you submit, make sure you also save your drafts, because if you don't save it and you have a minor network issue, everything might just clear off and you have to start all over again. And I know how frustrating that can be. So just ensure you save your draft at every point in time. Thank you. And the deadline for your submission is August 25th. So June, July, August, I understand that you might feel like you have a lot of time, but the earlier you apply, I think the better. Early applications are always advisable, so your application can be reviewed very well. So the earlier you apply, the better for you. Don't wait till the last minute for you to apply. Next slide, please. Okay, so we'll be giving you tips for a successful application. These are minor things, but these are things that matter on the long run. So number one, use a professional email address. We talked about email address before, and I think someone asked the question. He was like, what do you mean by a professional email address? So the professional email address is basically an email address that looks professional. So it's most advisable that you use your name when trying to compile your email address. Do not use slangs and do not use slangs and maybe do not use numbers. It's advisable you just use maybe your name and your surname. So if you don't have a professional one, try creating one. Number two, rename your document. Now this is very important because most of your documents are in formats such as EECC, something. So you should be able to rename your document. If this is a transcript, rename it transcript. If this is your passport, rename it as passport. It will help your viewer to clearly assess your documents, and it will show that you are organized and orderly. So number three, stay within a given word count. If you're asked to write an essay of 300, not more than 300 words, make sure you're not exceeding the 300 limit. If you're asked not to write an essay of not less than, make sure you're writing above that, nothing more, nothing less. So you get. So number three, engage your readers. So you want to make sure that your application is interesting, because why should I spend time reviewing your application? What should be interesting me? So you need to be unique. You need to it boils down to tell the right story. So how can you engage your readers? By telling the right story. And what is the right story? You are the right story. Project yourself. You have you yourself know your strengths, your weaknesses, and everything. So definitely you are being advised to sell yourself, project your strengths, and just in a summary, tell your right story. Now, proofread your essay. So you need to make sure that you're not making any grammatical error or any punctuation error. So you can ask someone else to help you go through it over and over again. You can give multiple people to help you spot grammatical and punctuation errors. And last but not the least, you must pray. So you can pray to God, you can pray to Allah or whoever you worship, but the most important thing is just pray, because above all, I don't know, God is the ultimate. So thank you very much, Tanya.
Okay, so it's been thank you very much for staying with us through the slides. We are going back to taking questions, so we'll be doing that right away. Okay, so thank you very much, all our participants. So I'll be going through the questions that we've asked. We've been seeing your questions come in, and so if you also have a personal question, you could raise your hand, and then I would ask you to unmute your video. Okay, so if you have a question you feel you can't type it, you want to ask it, in the little time we have, you raise your hand, and then you'll be given an opportunity to do so. Okay, so from the questions we have here, okay, so can automation and control engineering students participate in this conference? This is from Tural. Okay, so Tural, as long as you belong to any of these societies, which I have mentioned earlier, the Society of Petroleum Engineers, the Society of Exploration Geologists, American Association of Geophysicists, or EAGE, as long as you belong to any of these associations, you can apply for the conference. Okay, that is a very more like a serious criteria for you to get selected. Okay, so I have a question from Olawale Ibrahim. My personal email address is ibrahim.alawale13. Okay, so I feel you should use your personal email address. It projects your name better, and then your school address. I'll suggest you do not use your school address for now. Use your personal email address. Okay. So for transcripts, here's another question: are we to submit the results from the previous semester, or all the results for the number of years spent in school? Okay. This question, I think it depends on your institution. It depends on your school. Okay, so